Hi friends, this reflection is for the 29th Sunday of Ordinary Time. So, there's quite a bit to unpack here as we delve into the readings of Exodus, St. Paul's letter to Timothy, as well as the Gospel of Luke. And yes, we are still in the Gospel of Luke, folks, so bear here. So let's talk about the Gospel first. What we see here is that we have this persistent widow that keeps going back and forth, keeps going back to the judge, back to the judge, back to the judge, trying to get some answers. And eventually the judge like, oh, I better, give this person an answer. And let's face it, I think we're like that widow, that persistent widow who want to know what are the answers? What can I do? What are some of the things that could help me do this, and how can I do that? And honestly, I think we feel like that persistent widow when it comes to, well, I need the answers. I don't know what to do. What can I do here? It's okay to be that persistent widow, because it shows there are two things that we can see here. Is in addition to the fact that she persisted, she persevered, and she also understand the fact that she also gave us an example of humility. And I honestly think that in our culture today, we lack humility because we think we have all the answers. And the problem with that is, the problem with our culture is that we think we know everything, but in reality, we don't. And sadly, that's the problem. And we have to be like this widow here. So, let's talk about this a little more. So, how is the Gospel of Luke in relation to the first reading, which is the book of Exodus? Well, you see, there will be times where we're going to be dried out, we're going to get tired and what have you. But I think what really could help us in our faith journey is that if we have people that are willing to lift us up and help us to keep going. If you look at her and Aaron, who helped Moses to keep his hands up. I mean, let's face it. You have your hands up like this for too long, guess what? They're going to get tired. And regardless if you're in the best shape of your life or the worst shape of your life, after like a certain amount of minutes, like your arms they want to go like this. They want to go like this. See? But what we see here is that the examples of Aaron and her is that they recognize that Moses is not alone. And neither are we. And there are going to be people that are going to help us in our journey, our spiritual journey, and that is heaven. That is our main goal, especially with our prayer life. So, if we don't persevere, we engage in what's called self-absorption. And we get answers all the time from the culture. And we don't even deepen our prayer lives. Whether it's convenient or inconvenient, as St. Paul says in the letter to Timothy, we must continue to persevere in faith. If we look at the example of Jesus on the cross, that's a sign of persevering faith. Yes, the cross was heavy. Yes, he was brutally beaten. He was mocked, a holy victim. Yet he kept going until he met his destination. That is, to me, friends, what we need to do. I also think it's kind of fitting in current events that when the Dobbs decision was casted down by the judges of the Supreme Court, there were pro-lifers for half a century that were praying for Roe v. Wade to be reversed. And there's no question in my mind, many pro-lifers, most of them are like really up in age, what have you, and declining in health. They persevered for half a century. They persevered in faith because they know Jesus had a way for them. They knew Jesus was going to provide an answer to these persistent prayers, because as St. Paul reminds us in his letter to the Thessalonians, that we must pray without ceasing. And let's face it, there are times that we need answers to our own prayers, whether it be work, whether it be for the conversion of someone in our lives, friend, neighbor, enemy, whatever. Even we just need prayers to discern what is our purpose in life, what is our identity. And sadly, the culture thinks that we are a tool shed. We're not. We are made in the unique likeness of God. We cannot lose that. We cannot lose and decline that fact. God made us in his own image and likeness for a reason. We are here on this earth for a reason. We're not Democrat. We're not Republican. We're not independent. We're not this. We're not that. We are children of God. And the first duty of every children of God is to pray. Pray with a persevering faith. Pray without ceasing. Whether it's convenient or inconvenient. I can assure you, with a persevering faith, you can accomplish wonders. You can inspire many. And I believe that a persevering faith could change our culture. All we have to do is remind people to turn to God and to keep going to him. Persevere in faith, my friends.